Welcome to Live, Breathe Yoga, a show dedicated to inspiring your practice and elevating your mind, body, and soul. Today we check out the results from our case study and oil pulling. Is it what it's all cracked up to be? Coming up later in the show, get your mats ready for oat yoga, where I'll be teaching you postures that you can add to your home practice. Don't forget to stay tuned for Yoga Bites, where we share the recipe of the day. We have a great show in store for you today. Stay connected for more Live, Breathe Yoga. Welcome back. Today on case study, we're going to practice oil pulling. Now on each case study, we're going to be practicing different holistic and Ayurvedic techniques and reviewing them. So let's get right into it. With oil pulling, you can use either coconut oil or sesame seed oil, and you take a teaspoon or a tablespoon into your mouth, swish it around through your teeth, pulling it in and out through your teeth. It's almost like you're using mouthwash, but you're using this oil. With this oil, it's actually drawing away the impurities from the inside of your mouth and actually helps you build your immunity. So let's give this a try. I have here with me, I'm using coconut oil. And for myself, because of the palette that I have, I'm going to be using a teaspoon rather than a tablespoon. The reason for this, if you do try it with too much oil, as you swish it through your mouth, the saliva builds in your mouth as well. So that starts to collect in your mouth and you end up, which I did at home, you end up spitting a little bit out accidentally. Now, it's a little bit on the thick side, but that's coconut oil for you. Now I've been practicing this every day for the last week, and I'm going to continue to practice oil pulling for the next 30 days, and I'll be able to show you the results from my oil pulling on my blog. So this is what you do. You draw it into your mouth, and again, you're going to be swishing it around in your mouth for anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. So this is a long time to do this, so you can find quite a meditative state when practicing this. Coconutty. So, one of the things to bear in mind when you are practicing oil pulling, it is going to be a little bit thicker, the coconut oil, than the sesame seed oil. With the coconut oil in your mouth, you will have to keep it in your mouth. It will be after about 5 minutes that'll actually start to feel more fluid in your teeth. So you'll be able to draw it in and out through your teeth by swishing it, pushing it through, and pulling it back with your tongue. With sesame seed oil, you'll find it a lot easier because it's already quite viscous. Now with coconut oil, with what I've just practiced, I'm feeling immediately that my lips are moisturized. I do feel that I had a little bit of buildup from the toxins or the plaque that was in between my teeth, and that was collected in the coconut oil. Of course, when you do spit out the coconut oil, you don't want to spit it down the drain. It can start to clog up your drain over time. What you want to do is spit the coconut oil out either into the trash, or if you collect compost, you can spit it out into the correct bin for compost. One of the things that I did read about in my research is that in practicing oil pulling, it may not actually give you the health benefits that some other articles have noted. What it does, and this is something that I have observed over the last week, is during the time that I am practicing the oil pulling, that 15-20 minutes, I'm concentrating solely on swishing this fluid in my mouth and making sure that it's being drawn in and out of my teeth. So there's actually a bit of a meditative state that I do get into when practicing oil pulling. Something that you want to bear in mind as well is with oil pulling, it's something that you shouldn't be doing all of the time. One of the things that has been known to happen is a type of pneumonia where the oil, as it's being swished around in your mouth, you can inhale a little bit of that oil into your lungs, and that is how you would possibly develop this pneumonia. Now, I've only been doing it for the last week, and I have noticed a little bit of buildup of oil in the back of my throat, so I often finish the practice with brushing my teeth. So at the end of the day, if oil pulling is something that is of interest to you, I recommend it just to give it a try. I do notice a difference in the brightness in my teeth. I think it's also because I'm paying more attention to what I'm doing with my teeth to make sure that the oil pulling is taking. So thank you so much for watching this segment. I'm so excited to show you more in case studies. Next week, we're going to be talking about ear candling. Coming up next, oat yoga. Welcome back. Have you ever noticed throughout your day, all you do is you're on your computer, you're on your cell phone, and our heads are down? Your posture, what's gone on with it? We're starting to slouch. We're in this age of slouching because of technology. What I'm going to do with you today in oat yoga, I'm going to show you some postures that you can connect to that opens up your chest, opens up your heart. So I have Kate and Heather here with me today. We'll start with Prasarita Padottanasana. That's a wide-legged forward fold. So stepping back with your left foot, facing all 10 toes forward. Gently take your hands behind your back and clasp them. Find a length in your spine. Inhale. On your exhale, hinge at your hips, leading with your heart. Gently drawing your knuckles up to the sky, and if possible, energetically drawing them towards the earth. Now you can see that there are varying levels within this posture. You can see that sometimes if your shoulders are very tight, you have a little less movement. So what Kate's gonna do, she's gonna lengthen her spine on her inhale, and then on her exhale, she's gonna energetically draw her chest towards the earth, curl her tailbone up to the sky, and engage her quads. One thing to bear in mind while you're in this posture is as soon as you come into a forward fold, your hips are gonna immediately want to draw backwards. So energetically drawing the weight of your hips over your heels. And then we see here with Heather that she has a lot more mobility in her shoulders, so I'm gonna guide her even deeper into the posture. Inhale, exhale. So there's a little bit more room here for her to move. Inhale, and exhale. Beautiful. And gently on your inhale, come back up into an upright position. And now we're gonna move into another posture, Ustrasana. This is Camel Pose. So coming down to the earth onto your knees. Now you might find with your mat that it's a little bit thin, so what you can do, you can also fold up your mat to give yourself a little bit of padding underneath your knees. So to start, we're gonna have our hands behind our back, preferably either with your fingertips up if you have that mobility in your arms, or fingertips to the earth, as long as your hands are at your sacrum. From here, you're gonna draw a line across the ceiling with your nose as you shine your heart up to the sky. You can see Heather is drawing her chest up to the sky, opening up the front side of her body. Continue to engage your core. What can happen here is you lose your core, so you lose a little bit of the stability in the posture. So drawing your lower abdomen in towards your spine, shining your heart up to the sky. Now with Heather, I'm gonna have her come deeper into the posture, tucking her toes under, reaching back for her ankles, and shining her heart up. Maybe if it's available, you can also draw your gaze towards the back wall. And then with Kate, she's going to do the same thing, this time with her feet untucked. So that'll actually give you a little bit more space to come down into the posture. One thing to bear in mind while you're coming into a posture like this, the tendency, as you can see, is that your hips want to drop backwards. To really gain that openness across the front side of your body, start to press your hips forward over your knees. Good. Continuing to breathe in and out through your nose, observing your breath as you move through your postures. And gently, when you're ready, take your hands to your lower back to come out of the posture, engage your core, and slowly come back up into an upright position. Beautiful. Now the next posture that we're going to connect with is Urdhva Dhanurasana. So before we connect with Urdhva Dhanurasana, which is a little bit of an intense posture, wheel pose, we're going to connect with Setu Bandhasana, which is bridge pose. So taking your feet from underneath you, take your bottoms to the earth and lay flat on your back. Take your knees, bend them far enough so that your feet are close enough to your bottom that you can barely tickle your heels with your fingertips. Feet are hip width apart. From here, pressing your hands into the earth on your inhale, press your hips up to the sky. Pressing your forearms into the earth. Things to bear in mind when you're in bridge pose, you want to find space between your chin and your chest, as though there's an apple between your chin and your chest. You want the back of your head pressing into the earth as well as your shoulders. When you get to the top of this posture, think of releasing your glutes so you're keeping yourself elevated with the strength of your legs. And on your exhale, gently come back down to the earth with your hips. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to show you two different variations that you can come into. If you have more mobility, I'm going to have you follow Heather here, and she is going to show you Urdhva Dhanurasana with her hands by her ears. Kate is going to show you another modification that you can connect with to open up your shoulders more in this posture. So with Heather, hands by your ears, and Kate, together, inhale, lift. Heather, you're gonna come up onto the top of your head to start. So for those of you who are new to this posture, Urdhva Dhanurasana, you wanna make sure that you're starting somewhere safe. So coming up onto the top of your head to start. And when you're ready, if your arms feel comfortable, you can start to straighten out your arms to come into the full expression of the posture. You'll notice here with Kate, I'm gonna have her roll her shoulders underneath and clasp her hands underneath her bottom, drawing her knuckles towards her heels. You can see that she's gained a little bit more lift in the posture, again, finding openness between her chin and her chest. Now with Heather, because she has more mobility, I'm gonna have her draw her shoulders over her wrists, still finding space in her back, beautiful opening across her chest. Staying here with her breath for 3, 2, and 1. Gently on your exhale, coming back down to the earth. Heather's gonna start with coming down onto her head and then gently onto her back. And from here, you're gonna take the bottoms of your feet together, coming into a neutral position. If you're coming into a lot of back bending within your practice, being mindful not to always close up right after the back bend. After each back bend, you wanna maintain that openness that you created in the front side of your body until the end of your practice. From here, you can see that there is a natural curve in Kate's lower back. And gently from here, draw your knees in together. and then come up into a seated position. So these are just a few of the postures that you can connect to open up your chest and reverse some of the activity that you have gotten caught up in throughout your day, throughout your week, like being on your cell phone, driving, being on your computer. Now, I want to thank both Heather and Kate for being my demonstrators today. Next week, we're going to be focusing on hip openers because there are a lot of marathons happening in the city, so I can understand if there's a lot of tight hips out there. So tune in with us next week. Namaste. Coming up next, we have Yoga Bites. Namaste. The light in me bows to the light in you. This delicious recipe is something I whipped together when I lived in Mysore, India for a month. I call it a root chakra salad. Serve it warm or chilled, both ways are equally delicious. If you have a recipe that you'd like to share, or if there is an Ayurvedic or holistic technique that you'd like us to try out and review, feel free to tweet it out to me or send it to me on my Facebook page, Kaye Yoga. Next week, we learn about ear candling during our case study, and we learn about new hip opening postures for tight hips during hot yoga. Thank you for watching Live, Breathe Yoga. Namaste.